watching AYV Television.
Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to the weekly Reform Hour program brought to you courtesy of the Public Sector Reform Unit, Office of the President, a program that is geared towards informing the general public about the ongoing reform activities being implemented by the government of Sierra Leone. Over the years, Sierra Leone has suffered the depletion of skilled manpower both in the civil and public service. In this vein, the government of Sierra Leone decided to collaborate with the World Bank to implement the Sierra Leone Pay and Performance Project. This project aims to look at three critical areas, and they include recruitment and staffing, performance management, and pay reform. Today, specifically, we will be looking at one of the key components of this project, and that is pay reform. And a sub-component of this particular component is called the job evaluation. Over the years, Sierra Leone has decided to engage other countries in terms of development. And today, I have a group of people, of experts, should I say, experts from Ghana. And they will be talking to us about the Ghanaian experience when it comes to job evaluation. I have a lady and two gentlemen. On my right is the CEO of the Ghana Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. He is Mr. Smith Graham. Mr. Graham, a warm welcome to the Reform Hour program.
Thank you very much.
And on my far right is the lady with me, and she is Mrs. Eva Addo. She is the Director of Salaries, Grading and Regrading Job Evaluation in the Ghana Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. And on my near right is Mr. Benjamin Usay, who is a consultant for the Ghana Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. So as you can see, I have a Ghanaian team with me to talk about the job evaluation. The job evaluation is a very important topic when it comes to moving Sierra Leone into a middle-level status economy. But for the purpose of today, I wouldn't talk much. As I said earlier, I have my experts with me. I'll start with the CEO of the Commission, Mr. Smith Graham. Mr. Graham, once again, welcome to Sierra Leone as a whole.
Thank you very much.
Job evaluation, what does it mean?
Thank you very much. I think job evaluation is a tool that is used in evaluating a job to establish the relative worth or value of a job. And it has several components in it. We have various other, should I say, types of job evaluation, models of job evaluation, if I should put it that way. And it's just to establish the relative worth of a job, so that if you do an assessment, you'll be able to tell the value of a job in one organization and its relative to another job in another organization. And that is virtually what job evaluation is all about.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. And I'm particularly attributed to the aspect of the job evaluation being a tool used to measure the job rather than the person doing the job. That is very interesting. Let us go a step further. Why is the job evaluation being conducted?
Well, I thank you very much. As you mentioned earlier on, Sierra Leone is going through a reform process, and once we are reforming the public sector, in the course of the reform, you should be able to determine the relative worth of every job within the public sector. And I believe that's the reason why the Sierra Leone government, together with the development partners, thought it wise to undergo this job evaluation. Now, it is important because if care is not taken, because people were mates in schools, they had various qualifications, and so, but they are out doing various jobs. So somebody will say, I have a first degree, I work in this organization, and this is my colleague in school, he also has a first degree, working in a different organization. And because we all have first degrees, we should be earning the same amount of money in terms of salary. But at the end of the day, they are doing two different jobs altogether. But how do you establish the value of the job that they are doing to be able to establish how much they are supposed to be paid? And that is what makes job evaluation important. It is an objective way of establishing this relative worth. So this unnecessary comparison of we all have first degree, we all have PhD, we all have master's degree, will be eliminated from the public service. And so when it is established that you are supposed to earn 1 leon, somebody is supposed to earn 2 leon, the person knows why he's earning the 1 leon, the other person knows why he's earning the 2 leon. Nobody will do the comparison because they may have the same qualifications, but they may be doing different jobs altogether. I can give you a practical example, especially when it comes to those of us from Africa when we travel outside the country and go and do all sorts of jobs. Now, assuming I travel to the United States of America and I hold a PhD and I end up at the roadside and doing the cleaning on the roadside, I'm going to be paid just as those who are doing the cleaning on the roadside in the United States of America. They won't say because I'm holding a PhD and doing the same job, I'm going to, because the job has a value. And so irrespective of the qualification you go into the job, you are going to be paid based on the value of the job. And it doesn't look at you as an individual, it looks at the job. And so every job has a value. And the person coming into the job requires certain specific backgrounds, experience, qualifications to be done. And it is true that as individuals, we aspire. And so we are all developing ourselves gradually. But people develop themselves to aspire to go into higher positions. But what normally happens is that a lot of people will acquire higher and higher qualifications, but they still then be doing the same old job. If you do a job evaluation, the job evaluation will come out clearly and show that this job requires this background as a minimum qualification to do, and not the one you are holding. And so it is important that you establish this in the most important thing, like a reform process in the public service, so that you'll be able to eliminate all the various subjectivities that come in when it comes to paying people and their salaries in order.
Thank you very much, Mr. Graham. Putting that into perspective, I like the example you gave about the PhD holder being working in overseas doing a cleaning job. So let us take Sierra Leone as an example. Say, imagine if you're human resource officer and then you have a PhD qualification, and the actual job. The job specification of the job role doesn't require a PhD holder, so you shouldn't be expected to be paid a PhD amount of money rather than the relative worth of the job you are doing.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Let us talk about the Ghanaian experience, to be specific. Before the job evaluation in Ghana, the wage bill was above 70%. Government in Ghana used to spend above 70% in terms of paying salaries. But after the exercise was conducted over the years, it has reduced significantly to 40%. Yeah? So let me come to you, Director Salaries, Mrs. Ado. How did you do it?
Thank you. Before the job evaluation and before the pay reform, different institutions were on different salary structures. They had their own way of determining salaries, which was really not related to any basic or any general way of assessing jobs. But what happened was that government saw the need as the main employer of these institutions to do a job evaluation. Once it has determined the relative worth of the jobs, then there was negotiation for salaries, and then to pay staff or the employees, government employees, based on the job evaluation exercise. Now, what really happened was that if you do a job evaluation, you realize that there may be some jobs that are being paid lower than the average, the public sector average, and then you also have some jobs that are being paid overpaid. But in the Ghana experience, what happened was that government was really did not want to bring any salary down. So what government did was that all those who were being overpaid, government maintained their salaries and then gave the difference to them as what we call conversion difference. But all those who were being paid lower than the average were all brought up to where they needed to be. And that actually brought the wage bill to the tax revenue parity as ratio as 70%. So it was the initial implementation rather of the single spine that shot the wage bill up. But like we said, that will be the initial thing because you are bringing those down up, and those up there, you are maintaining them up, you are not bringing them down. So after the initial implementation, yes, the wage bill went up, but then you had to streamline it. In other words, those who were up there, they were really not getting any salary increases. So you have stabilized their increases. They are no longer going up, they are no longer getting increases in salaries. And those lower down there are getting those who are on the average are getting the increases. So that is what assisted us, this way of implementation, assisted us to bring down the wage bill from the 70, a little over 70% to about 50-something%, and now we are around 42-43%. So that is the strategy. The strategy is to bring up those who are earning lower, but those who are earning higher, don't reduce their salaries, but don't give them any increase. And over a period of time, you will see the difference.
Okay. I can see Mr. CEO.
Let me add a little to what she said. Before our reforms in Ghana, we had about 130 different salary structures in the public service. And if you take the Constitution of Ghana, the Constitution of Ghana allows the establishment of several services. It also allows the formation of unions, multiple unions. Any two people in an organization can form union. And so, as at the time we were doing it, we had 170 different salaries, and because they were negotiating the salaries themselves, the salary differentials were quite huge. Whilst when you did the survey, you noticed that some people were as low as negative 60%, negative 70% below the public sector average. Some were as high as 300% above the public sector average. That was the level of variation that existed in the public service, disparities in the public service in Ghana. So like he mentioned, if somebody is up there, the decision was not to bring the person down in terms of the salary after the evaluation, but to allow the person to take what the person is taking. And then those who are down there, who are supposed to move up to where the job evaluation says they should move, will move to that level. What that means is that your wage bill will, at the initial stages, go up because those high there are remaining, but those down will. But in the subsequent years, because we are getting those up there to stay where they are until the salary structure catches up with them, you will notice that as and when you are negotiating, it is slowing down the wage bill because they will not be getting any increases any further. And so the wage bill will stay there for some time whilst negotiations are also going on. But the most important thing in all this is that there need to be a strong collaboration between the government and the trade unions, because it is a relationship between the government and trade unions that will help in the negotiation process and also help in reducing the wage bill gradually, as we have been able to achieve in Ghana.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Graham, for that explanation. I think you mentioned collaboration, the strong union, or the strong relationship that should be between the government and trade unions. That could be used as something that will take home, that Sierra Leoneans would have to adhere to, because we are on the exercise, the job evaluation exercise. It's not yet, it hasn't been completed yet. But if you look at Sierra Leone holistically, one of the underlying issues affecting the economy is the disparity in salaries within the civil service, and also with subvented agencies. You could see someone in the civil service on the same grade 7 in this ministry earning less than what the other person is earning in another ministry. And those are some of the issues. And if you look at subvented agencies, they practically set their own salaries, and it's always on the high end. So if this job evaluation exercise is conducted, and we hope it would be successfully, you're saying that, for example, if I'm earning 5 million and the exercise has been conducted, and someone who is earning 2 million needs to be raised to 5 million, it would be a gradual process, and that would lead to the increase in the wage bill initially.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
If you do the evaluation and somebody is earning 5 million,
Yeah.
but the job evaluation is saying that the person should earn 7 million.
Okay.
Then we have the counterpart of that same person who the job evaluation says should earn 7 million, but is earning 10 million. What do you do is that the one who is earning 5 million now will immediately move to go and earn the 7 million.
Okay.
So he will jump and get a great jump and go and earn the 7 million.
7 million.
But the one who is enjoying the 10 million is already enjoying a salary which is higher than the 7 million.
7 million.
So he will be allowed to stay there and enjoy the 10 million. So if the following year the salary moves to and be given so he'll be given the 7 million as a salary, and we call something conversion difference. That's the difference between what the person is supposed to get and what the person is getting now. So in the example I gave, the difference is 3 million. So what will happen is that we will give the person the 7 million as a salary and give the 3 million to the person as what we call a conversion difference. It doesn't matter the name you give to it, but the important thing is that you've given the person the difference. Now, if the following year the salary increases to 9 million, the person gets the 9 million and you give the person the difference of 1 million.
1 million.
So
Okay.
it means that the person will not move from the 10 million to 12 million. No, he will still be at the 10 million, but will get the 9 million plus the 1 million because you want the salary structure, the amount on it, to catch up with what the person is taking.
Exactly.
So it means that you slow down the upward, you don't even slow down, you virtually halt the person's salary increases until the salary structure catches up with the person. Instead of saying that the job evaluation says you should come to 7 million, so we've taken 3 million out of your salary, come and take 7 million. That will bring some resistance. So that is the reason why we adopted this approach. Let the person take his 10 million, but divide it into his salary, which is 7 million, and the difference, which is 3 million, that you are giving to him as conversion difference.
Okay.
But the one who is down there, if even the person was earning 1 million, and the job evaluation says the person should earn 7 million, he will immediately jump from his 1 million and go and get a 7 million.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That is good. That's what happened in Ghana.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. I'll come to you now, Mr. Benjamin Osei, the consultant for the Ghana Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. What role do you think the government has to play when it comes to job evaluation?
Well, thank you very much. Fortunately for us, the government of Sierra Leone is at the center of what we are doing, or the job evaluation that is going on, or the pay reform which is going on. I think it's one of the flagship programs for the government. Therefore, government is at the center of it. Government as a body or as an institution is expected to play the leadership role. There should be a commitment from the government. Now, if there is no commitment from the government, whatever you will do will come to naught. And by so doing, government is supposed to provide the logistics. Government is supposed to provide the resources. Government is supposed to provide the human resource as well as the financial resources that are needed to push the program forward. So the main thing that we expect from the government is that there should be a political will from the government side. And government must be prepared to foot the bill. Because sometimes if you don't take the bull by the horn, at the end of it all, you realize that you will spend more than what you are getting. Now, in Ghana's situation, as we were talking about, it came to a point where even the government at any given time cannot tell you his wage bill, because there was no one single salary structure that he was using to pay its employees. About 170 different salary structures were just all over the place. So at the end of the month, government was finding it extremely difficult to know how many people he was paying and how much he was even paying. Now, with the coming in of the pay reform, at least the government has a tool to measure the number of people he's paying and the quantum of money that he is using. So the role of government in this exercise is very paramount.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Osei, for that. Well, would have to pause here for a little bit. Viewers and listeners, if you've just tuned in your radio or your television, this is your weekly Reform Hour program brought to you courtesy of the Public Sector Reform Unit, Office of the President, a program that is geared towards informing the general public about the ongoing reform activities being implemented by the government of Sierra Leone. And introducing my panelist, I talked about job evaluation, and Sierra Leone is currently conducting job evaluation for civil servants and to some extent to inform the public servants. And we have the consultants, KPMG, who are carrying out this exercise, and it's been supervised by the HRMO, the Human Resource Management Office. We'll hope to have them here anytime next week. And the Ghana Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has been in contact with the government of Sierra Leone to provide quality assurance to KPMG in terms of making this program or this exercise a success. So today I have with me the distinguished personalities of the CEO, Mr. Graham Smith, and Madam Eva Ado, who is the Director of Salaries, Grading and Regrading and Job Evaluation in the Commission. And I have the consultant with me, who is no other person than Mr. Benjamin Osei. And we've been having discussions centered around the Ghanaian experience when it comes to job evaluation. What did they do? Why was it successful? What commitment was shown by the government, the Ghanaian government, to implement the job evaluation exercise? So the telephone lines are now open. We have 099 101 333. I'll say that again, 099 101 333. And we have 022 222 107. You can call and ask questions, generic questions relating to job evaluation and specific questions to the Ghanaian team on the subject matter which is job evaluation. So you're welcome to call and ask questions. Over to you again, Mr. CEO. Let us touch again on the commitments of government, because I could remember we had a meeting with the Minister of Finance, and you explained the reduction of the wage bill, and then his question, I'll quote, say, how did you do it? Okay, we have a call. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
No, we don't want to know if Yalina no get any engineer except to use other pointers. Then why would they bring up people then? Why?
Sorry, you're becoming a bit unclear. Can you say that again, please?
I said, I'm telling some good, right? We have engineers as well. So why are we asking another country? Why not visit our own engineers as well instead of asking Ghana to come and help? Why?
I think
Is
you're
that
coming
not
on.
the
You're coming really unclear to me. I can't seem to get your question. Can you speak up a little bit, please? Hello, caller. I'm afraid we've lost that caller. This is just a quick
Hello?
announcement. If you call in, make sure you be audible and you ask specific questions to the Ghanaians in relation to their experience when it comes to job evaluation, or you ask generic questions relating to job evaluation. If there's anything you want to know about job evaluation, i.e. its advantages, then you can ask questions to the Ghanaian. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah. I'm really enjoying the program. I'm Hassan Conte from Kono.
Kono, from Kono, okay.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the program, and I thank His Excellency Dr. Hannes Baikoma for coming with those people to analyze the salary and make the salary to structuralize. And I really appreciate him to improve the salary up to the peak that the big ones that they say that they have degrees, that they are collecting 10 million, 60 million, and we, the average ones, are collecting 1 million, 1.5 million, and which is not right. So, like, I want that to be structuralized, and His Excellency to put emphasis to make the salary structure more stronger, because we are really suffering from salary structure because we don't have like price control. Everybody is putting his own price. Like when they're experiencing increase on food or commodities, and the salary is too low that we cannot afford to get all those needs that we want. It's really, really painful that we are living in the salary that we did not have salary structure. And, we the average one. So, like, I thank God that His Excellency has noticed the idea and implementing it faster, to lighten more and whosoever that contest in APC. And we in this country, especially me, African country, I'm not supporting any party, but I just supporting the country to develop at the high peak, because Sierra Leone is power, because we have nowhere to go. Only Sierra Leone that we have. So why can we see Sierra Leone going down? People suffering from having no job. Youth are out the street. Kids are suffering. So many street kids. No one is responsible for them. All because of salary is too low. Because when salary is up, you can see someone kid suffering and then help him or her. That's nice. I thank His Excellency for bringing this program for the
Okay, Mr. Conte, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Conte. I think you've made very, very positive contribution to this program, and I'll also join you in thanking the President for making this possible. I think the government is aware of the salary issues. That's why we're currently doing the job evaluation to harmonize salaries. Okay. Okay. Yes, caller.
Yeah, hello. Yeah,
Hello.
hello. Yeah, this is Mr. from Bo.
Hello.
Yeah, I just want to ask,
Sorry, I think you might have to speak up a little bit, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Now, I just want to know the reaction. Which the economists are using to classify the type of jobs and the method of grading.
Sorry, can you, if you're near sorry, Mr. Kola, if you're near your sets, can you move a bit so I can hear you? I can't seem to get you clearly. Okay, yes, Mr. Graham, you were talking something about the commitment of government in terms of the job evaluation.
Yeah, like I mentioned, Sierra Leonean government has demonstrated very strong commitment to the process with all the contribution it is making towards the provision of logistics for the KPMG to do the assignment. But it's important we get something very clear. The first caller was not very clear. But there was something that was coming up in bits and pieces. Putting it together, I heard him asking something to the effect that we have other professionals, engineers, and other experts in Sierra Leone. Why bring people from Ghana to come and do this assignment? We are not here to do the assignment for the Sierra Leonean government. We are here to share the experiences that we went through in Ghana with the Sierra Leonean government, so that where we committed mistakes, where we made mistakes, we are to advise the Sierra Leonean government not to commit the same mistakes that we committed. And it has to be very clear that we are not here to do the work for anybody. Our job here is just a quality assurance guide to ensure that the pitfalls that we went through, you as Sierra Leone do not go through the same pitfall. And we need to get that very clear. But the commitment of government is important because at the end of the day, government is the biggest beneficiary. Because the government have to be able to tell how much its total wage bill is going to be able to plan for its wage bill in the medium, in the short, medium, and long term. And so it's very critical that government commits itself to the process. And I think the Sierra Leonean government has demonstrated enough commitment to the process. What is important is not the government now, but the ordinary public servant and ordinary civil servant showing commitment to the process. We had an experience in Ghana where people knew that, as usual, in the public service, we start something, it never ends. We start something, it never ends. And so people didn't demonstrate enough commitment towards the process. At the end of the day, when the whole thing was implemented, people realized that they've made a big mistake in not showing commitment. We are here to let the civil servants and the public servants know that demonstrate the commitment, get involved, make sure that your job has been evaluated and evaluated properly, so that when it is implemented, you don't have that shock. Because it is going to be implemented. No government will pump in so much money to undertake an exercise like this and not implement it. And so it is very important, and we are here to send a very strong signal and a caution to public servants. Don't sit aloof. Get yourself involved. Make sure you know what evaluation is all about. Make sure that you get your job properly evaluated, so that at the end of the day, you will not have any shock of your life. And it's a very important advice that we need to give to the public servants.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anything from you, madam?
Yeah,
okay.
I want to add on to what the chief executive said, that jobs exist in the institutions. Yes, jobs exist and the jobs belong to the institutions. But we have human beings performing their jobs or employees performing their job, and therefore the people are called upon to provide data on the job. So it is important that you provide the data. If you dilly-dally and you don't want to provide the data, the job is still in existence, and whoever is collecting the data will just move along, will move away. And therefore, you are rather doing a disservice to the job and to yourself, because you are going to be the eventual beneficiary. So it is good to provide the data that is being collected, provide the accurate data, so that whoever is going to process that data will have the accurate data to process it. At the end of the day, you will be a beneficiary. But if you want to put impediments in the way and only to give excuses, I wasn't informed and I didn't know what it is and that and this. The process will go on without you. But the job existed before you, and it will continue. So it is in your best interest to provide all the necessary data and to find time to do that. And at the end of it all, you'll be happy that you did.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question for you, but I'll come back to you in a second. I just wanted to reiterate what you said, Mr. Graham, with regards to Mr. Conte's first concern or question in relation to why people from Ghana are here to do job evaluation. I think, yes, he totally missed that, because during my introduction, I said the Ghana Fair Wages Salary Commission are here to provide quality assurance to the job evaluation exercise going on at the moment. They're not conducting the exercise. As I said, the exercise is being conducted by KPMG. It was they won the bid for the job evaluation, and they're working alongside a government institution, the HRMO, the Human Resource Management Office, and they are the environmental managers for civil servants. And so it is important that we comprehend that the Ghanaians are not here to conduct the exercise. They're just sharing their experience with us, and they don't want us to go through the bottlenecks that they went through when they were doing the job evaluation. So that's it for you, Mr. Conte. I'm sure that would have answered your question. I'll come over to you again, Director. What were some of the factors or the tools used by Ghana during the job evaluation exercise?
In the job evaluation exercise in Ghana, we look at 4 main factors. And and the 4 main factors, which are, international anyway, they are education and skill, so knowledge and skill. And then we also look at the responsibility of the job. Also looked at the work environment of the job, and then the efforts in doing the job. Now let me say that a job exists, and the job has a purpose for its existence. And as a result of that, it has certain duties it has to perform. And if it has those duties to perform, then you want to look at what are the educational requirements for that job. And we are looking at the minimum educational requirements for the job. Does the job require any experience to do the job or not? So that's one aspect. Another aspect that we'll be looking at is, what is your role as far as what we call judgment is concerned? What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to take certain decisions? To what level can you take decisions and be held responsible for it? Do you have to make reference to a more senior person to take that decision or to make that recommendation? We look at all of these things. And then you also look at so it's part of your responsibility. Do you have any supervisory role? What is the supervisory role? Is it only to explain work orders to people, or you want to look at whether you have a direct supervision over staff? No, we look at all of these things. What is the environment in which you do the job? There may be some disagreeable environment in which you may be doing the job. We want to look at that. We are not really looking at whether your light is working and you have air conditioner in your room, no. But it may be in a laboratory setting, or you are an engineer and you have to go out to the field. We look at, those are the things that any employer will be ready to pay the employee for. Because you see, when an employee works for an employer, there are certain things that the employer is looking out to pay for. So you are paying for these things. People will talk about risk. Yes, it is part of the environmental conditions, the risk that is on the job, and the efforts you even use in doing the job. Do you sit for long hours without any break? So these are the factors that you use in the job evaluation. So whatever data you get on you do your job analysis by picking all data on the job. Then you come and then you sit down to process all these data. And at the end of the day, you get jobs falling into clusters. you may be picking the job from one institution or the other. This institution will give you clusters. The next institution will also fall within similar clusters. So that is how you do it. And then at the end of the day, you are able to determine the relative worth of the jobs. And most of the time, they are in bands. You know, you do it for maybe, it's just like awarding degrees in the university. Maybe 80, 70% to 100% is a first class. Maybe 50 to 70 is a second class. No, so that is how you look at the job, you measure it against these factors, and at the end of the day, you get your total score, and then you see that they fall within these bands, and you determine what your grade structure should be, and then you know how to handle it.
Okay, thank you very much. Viewers and listeners, the telephone lines are open. You can call in and ask questions. The official number is 099-101-333. And the Seattle number is 022-222-107. I'll go over them again. 099-101-333 and 022-222-107. Over to you, Mr. Osei. I saw you nodding your head. Would you like to make any contributions to what Director said?
Thank you very much. The only thing I want to add is we expect the consultant, the KPMG, to evaluate the job using the statistical approach. You are trying to reduce words into figures. We are not here to teach those things. But for you to compute the value, you need to apply some statistics. And it is based upon the degree at which a particular factor affects a particular job. So it's a whole lot of technical things that they are going to use to come out with the value of their job. And like my colleague said, yes, it's just like writing an exam. When the exams are marked, people get scores. So there could be a hierarchy of scores. And based upon the hierarchy of scores, there will be grades and the grade bands, which will also apply to the salary structure that they are likely going to come up with. Okay. So we expect KPMG as the consultant to use the internationally accepted standards to measure. And that is why Fair Wages and Salaries Commission from Ghana is interested in being here. We want to ensure that we have gone through the exercise before. We have probed, we have difficulties, we have come out of the difficulties, and we want to share what we have come out with Sierra Leone.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Osei. Mr. Graham, are other countries emulating your footsteps in terms of, apart from Sierra Leone, are other African countries asking for your recommendations or quality assurance when it comes to job evaluation?
Okay, thank you very much. I think when we started, we had no examples, and so we were forced to build our own model as a country. And you recall that even when Sierra Leonean government came, we told them, look, you have to build your own model. You don't need to copy what Ghana has done. So far since we started, we've gotten several other African countries coming to look at the model that we are using. We've had the Kenyans coming to look at our model. We've had the Zambians on their way. They were supposed to be there in December, and it was postponed, and they will be coming very soon. The Gambians have been there. We've had Nigerians coming to Ghana. We have Rwandans coming. Everybody looking at what we have done. We don't recommend and go and adopt Ghana's model. We recommend that every country has its own objective conditions. And so the recommendation is that go use your objective conditions and use that to develop a model that will best suit your country. And KPMG is here to use an internationally best practice to do the evaluation. And what they are using is tested internationally. So they are going to use that one, and once they are able to use it and we do the quality assurance and everything is okay, then Sierra Leone should know that what we have done meets an international standards, because what they are bringing is really top class international standards that they are bringing.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Mr. Graham, you've been here for almost a week, and you've had meetings with key stakeholders engaged in this exercise: the HRMO, the Public Sector Reform Unit, KPMG, the World Bank, and the Public Service Commission. As you rightly said, it's not a system or an exercise that you can copy a particular model from a country. Say, you're not saying we should copy your model, but what would be some of your advice or your suggestions to fast track, or to not only fast track, but to make this exercise a success?
There are a few things that we've noticed, and we will engage the key stakeholders and discuss those issues with them on the way forward. But for purposes of this discussion, I would want us to focus on our observation, especially on the lack of involvement of some key stakeholders like the trade unions. That is where I would want to place emphasis on for now. The technical ones will meet with the stakeholders and we'll have a discussion with them. But what we have observed is that the trade unions don't seem to be involved, and the various professional bodies don't seem to be involved in the process. It will be very good that you get them involved at these early stages so that they understand the processes, and when the results are out, they will appreciate why the results will be what it will be. And so it is very important that we get, especially the workers and the worker union, the associations and the professional bodies involved at this stage, and let them participate in the process. It brings about proper acceptability of the results that will come out, and that is what we think is very critical, that Sierra Leone gets them involved. If we involve the trade unions and the professional association very much in the work that we did, and so it was very easy, although we had challenges and the agitations with them. Those who followed the Ghanian process, if we had that level of agitation with all the involvement, then you can imagine what will happen if they are not involved. So we are advising, avoid that. Don't get into the stage where the results will come out before you begin having agitations. Get everybody involved now, and we are very convinced that once that is done, this job evaluation in Sierra Leone will be a great success.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO, Ghana Fair Wages and Salary Commission, for that advice. Over to you, Mrs. Ado.
Thank you. Yes, Ghana, we also had some of the problems. Some of the things were like the setting up of institutions with who determines salaries. And these are things that maybe there need to be a critical look at. If government decides that I want to harmonize these salaries, then what should be government's approach to this harmonization? Where you may have institutions with their councils or their boards determining salaries. Government should be looking at all these legal issues if in future government wants to harmonize these salaries. And the same thing, once you pick the data and government decides that, okay, I want to harmonize salaries across, they still have to compare the jobs that people are doing. And once they compare and they see that their jobs are similar, then they fall within the same salary range. And this, I think that if you are looking at a wider sector, even as you are limited to the civil service starting with plus the other institutions, you can also broaden it to cover these things with time, I mean, because you already have the data. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll come to you, Mr. Benjamin. Your last question: how important is political interference when it comes to job evaluation?
That's a very interesting question that we need to answer. Yes, there's a need for political will to enable this exercise go through, as we stated earlier on. But job evaluation is a very technical work. Sometimes politicians are tempted to see the job evaluation as a means of increasing people's salary. But what the job evaluation is trying to do is to rationalize salaries, to ensure that there is equity in the system. It does not necessarily mean general salary increases for everybody. These are certain things that fundamentally everybody must understand. Yes, salaries may be low. Others are getting high salaries. So how do you draw the line? That is why the job evaluation is taking place. We establish fairness and equity in the pay administration in Sierra Leone. Now, the difficulty some of us had in Ghana was with the politician. Now, anytime there is agitation from the politician, from organized labor or labor, you hear the politicians saying, wait for the single spine to come, or wait for the salary reform to take place. You may go to the bank to take your salary in baskets. I mean, these are political things that, if you don't take care, can mar the beauty of what you are doing. We will plead with politicians. Yes, we know that they need the votes. But in an attempt to get the votes, we must ensure that we separate technical issues from political issues. Immediately we don't allow technical issues to be dealt technically, and we link it with politics, then the thing will fail.
Would fail. Okay.
And that is what I want to share.
Okay.
We must, as much as possible, allow the technical people to determine whatever it is. Yes, they need the political work. At a point in time, MPs will have to come in to help the system to work. But until that time, we should try to separate politics from the technical work that KPMG is doing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osei. I think that was one of the reasons why we engaged Parliament yesterday on this, the job evaluation. Before we round up this program, what are your last words, Mr. CEO?
Thank you very much. My last words will be to reiterate the point that Mr. Osei made. This is a very serious technical work. Political pronouncements on it should be restricted to the work that is being done. We don't need to give an impression to the general public or public servant that it's going to lead into salary increases, because that raises the expectation of the people. And as we said, job evaluation does not necessarily result into salary increases. It is rationalizing salary and ensuring that there's equity in the salary administration. And so we will appeal to the politicians not to be making political statements on it, or not to be making promises with it, but allow the technical work to go on. The second point I'll raise is that it will be important that all the stakeholders get involved in this very important exercise. The involvement of stakeholders are key. At the end of the day, it will receive the acceptability that we need, and the policy will be a great success. We are here as a Ghana Fair Wage and Salaries Commission to share our experiences, to make sure that you don't commit the same mistakes that we committed, to make sure that we help you to navigate your way through the challenges that we went through. Africa has the same challenges. The challenges of Ghana will not be different from the challenges of Sierra Leone. And so if we encounter any difficulties or challenges, it is the same thing that the Sierra Leone will also encounter. And we are here to make sure we share our experiences with you, let you know how we dealt with it, so that you can use your own conditions to deal with it and avoid the crisis we had as part of our implementation process. And that is what I would want to share with everybody, and continue to thank you and the government of Sierra Leone for this invitation. We will do our best to make sure that the Sierra Leone one becomes a great success.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. Well, viewers and listeners, that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Reform Hour program. We've heard from the Ghanaian experts, the Ghana Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and then on behalf of myself and on behalf of my director and my humble self, I'd like to say thank you very much for honoring our invitation. You've done a fantastic job, and we hope that your recommendations or your suggestions would be used in good faith. And I'll also say this to civil servants and to all public sector workers and to Sierra Leoneans in general. Let us take the job evaluation exercise as our baby. It is for the betterment of Mama Salone in transforming this nation into a middle status economy. So that's how we wrap up today's edition. Have a good afternoon. I have been your moderator, Harun Sharif, Communications Officer, Public Sector Reform Unit, Office of the President. Thank you.